Very good, Mrs. Kane.
Accident, Penny. Accident. Damn window cleaners.
You mean Edward Kane? What, the fridges, dishwashers and cookers man?
Edward Kane, the housewife's best friend.
So what were you doing with him? Darling, have you seen the dictionary anywhere?
I'm working with his wife. We just happened to be leaving at the same time as he was, and that's why I was there.
It was here last night, for heaven's sake.
Paul, you're not listening to a word I'm saying.
Pardon? Yes, I am, darling. Yes, it's very interesting. How do you spell assassinate?
What made you say that?
What?
It's just an odd choice of word, that's all.
Yes, quite. You know what eccentric creatures we writers are, don't you?
Rumour has it Edward Kane's about to go bust. Paul, he could be in trouble.
Who says he's about to go bust?
His wife. The company secretary's embezzled millions.
Ah, that's it. 4 S's. Millions?
It's true. Now, the trial starts in Cardiff at the end of next week.
Oh, and you think that makes this morning's accident into a deliberate attempt on his life? Darling, you've been reading too many of my books.
Paul, you didn't see his wife's face when it happened.
Thankfully, no, I didn't.
Well, you can decide for yourself tonight.
What?
We're going there for dinner.
Steve,
you're more than a week behind with us already, Paul Temple. Now, how can one more day possibly hurt?
No, if Paul's there, and I'm there...
And Julie next to him. Well, why not? Surely he's not averse to attractive females, is he?
Darling, who is? Oh, would you mind getting that?
Where's Joan, for heaven's sake?
Well, she can't go now. She's cooking.
Tommy. Well, what a nice surprise.
I want to see you.
Well, don't just stand there. Come in. Come in. We'll have a drink. We're having some friends in for dinner later.
Living off the fat of the land, are you? My land, I should say.
Oh, well, excuse me. I'd better go and see how Joan's getting on.
Now, Tommy, what will it be? Whiskey?
I've not come here to drink with you, Kane.
Oh, dear. There's nothing wrong, is there?
My God, that's rich. Your secretary tells me you're selling my firm's premises. Is that true?
Your firm? But I rather thought that Kane Enterprises had bought it.
But I'm still managing director of it. I still have some say.
A boardroom decision, Tommy. And you're not on the board, are you?
But it's my livelihood. It's been with the family for years.
And you've just been slightly damned inefficient at running the whole thing, haven't you?
Inefficient? Hainsworth Brothers inefficient?
I was talking about the price of the land.
What do you mean?
There, you see, you don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?
You can't just leave it at that. Tell me what you're getting at.
The property on your books was undervalued at over 120%. We only found out by accident.
Oh, yes?
You get a good golden handshake, of course. You and the others.
How long have you known about it, then? You're about as straight as a spiral staircase, Kane. The way you buy up firms, sell their assets, and then go into liquidation with debts.
It's all perfectly legal, Tommy. Sue me if you like and find out. Only, I'd tread very carefully if I were you. You'll be playing out of your league, old man.
Steve, how lovely to see you.
Penelope, this is Paul.
How do you do? Please come in.
Thank you.
Hello, Edward.
Hello.
Edward Kane, Paul Temple.
How do you do?
Hello.
Now, do go through and have a drink. I'll be with you in a moment. Thank you. Darling.
Yes, this way.
There wasn't anything else, was it, Tommy?
I'll be taking legal advice all the same.
Tommy.
Oh, Arthur, before you come in and join us, do take Tommy somewhere and buy him a drink, will you? Do you know he's got hold of some nasty idea that we've been plotting against him?
One day soon, that man's going to meet with an accident.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have one on my table, please, Tony.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Lewis.
Look after him for me, Tiny, will you?
Yes, I'll do that, Mr. Mayor.
See you, Tommy. Be good, eh?
Where's my drink, then?
Look, why don't you go for a walk around the block, Mr. Hainsworth, and come back a little bit later for the drink, eh?
Fill it up and one for yourself.
No, thank you. Some other time.
Now, because you and me, we've got business to discuss, right? A little bit of business.
Oh, yes, sure.
You could fix it all right for me.
Fix it? Fix what?
Someone who can handle himself. An able-bodied killer. That's good, that is. Able-bodied.
Killer Tommy? To kill who?
Brother Kane. Who else?
Some cheese, Paul?
What, after that dessert? I haven't tasted anything like that for years.
You're a pudding man, are you, Paul?
Excuse me, Will.
Well, one has to take one's pleasures in life as they come, hasn't one?
He means I don't give him puddings at home.
No, it's been strictly cheese-board ever since we were married.
You should have stayed single, Paul. That way they'd do anything to get you up to the altar.
Oh, you speak for yourself.
Darling, don't tell me you don't flatter your boyfriends, just occasionally.
Well, there are other ways.
Now, everyone, coffee?
Can I? Oh.
Yes. You play, Paul?
No, I'm a tennis man myself.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
I haven't said a word.
My managing director doesn't play at sports. He attacks them.
The total coordination of mind and body, that's all out there.
Well, I don't mind giving you a good three-set thrashing, Edward. Grass or hard court?
Anytime.
Paul, you're not that good.
Half the battle of winning in life, Steve, is convincing your opponents that you can.
Another of my husband's accomplishments, Steve. How many more, Arthur?
Just Edward. Edward, talking about sports, what was that game you were playing with the window cleaners this morning?
I saw that, Edward. You know, I really thought it was going to get you.
All right, Julie, let's just forget it, shall we?
Oh, darling, these accidents will happen.
Perhaps everyone would like a drink, Edward.
Yes, in a minute. I thought I'd put on some music.
Oh, well, I'll do that. Steve, come and help me choose a record, will you?
Julie, give us a hand with these glasses, will you?
I suppose there's no doubt this morning was an accident, is there?
Well, you know Edward.
What do you mean?
All successful businessmen have enemies.
What's it going to be, Paul?
I'll have a brandy, thank you.
Penny, what's happened?
You all right?
The record player. Give me this
Darling,
terrible
come and lie down. Julie, give me a hand, will you?
Don't touch it, Steve.
What happened, Paul?
Well, I'm not sure. Whatever it was, it doesn't look like an accident.
I wonder what was you're doing, friend. I mean, supposing something did happen to this Mr. Kane you keep talking about. Somebody might think you're involved, mightn't they?
You should be in bed
I need to talk to you.
in the morning. Go and rest now.
Ted, please don't send me away again.
Want a drink?
Here's a brandy, please. Ted, when you tell your friends about me, what's one of the things you always say? For some reason, it makes you laugh. I never know why.
What are you talking about?
You tell them that I'm tone deaf.
Well, so what? Isn't it?
Ted, I never listen to music. I haven't bought a record in my life.
You really should be in bed, you know.
I'm trying to tell you the only accident with that record player was that I switched it on.
Oh, Penelope.
It was intended for you. Someone is trying to kill you.
It was a broken wire.
And that window cleaning platform this morning, that was broken too, I suppose.
All right. Supposing someone is trying to kill me, do you think it helps to be reminded of it like this?
Ted, I'm trying to help.
In the wrong way, as usual.
Look, you may not worry what happens to you, but I do.
We'll talk about it in the morning.
That may be too late. I'm going to the police.
No.
For God's sake.
I said no. Just don't interfere, that's all.
Is it interfering to try and save someone's life?
Oh, for God's sake.
Ted, you need protection. Someone has to be told.
Not the police. Rumors start. Bankers begin to doubt your integrity.
But they won't even hear about it.
The reputation of the firm comes first, even above my own safety.
What about my safety?
I play to win. That's one of my accomplishments, remember? One chink in my armor, and everyone senses it.
But you're afraid.
Yeah, rubbish.
I've seen you afraid before. Yes, even you.
Don't you worry. They won't succeed.
But you won't succeed without help.
No.
Edward, please.
I forbid you to go to the police. And that's final.
Then someone else will have to be told. It's really Paul I came to see.
You should be at home, resting.
Oh, I'm all right. After all, I'm still alive, aren't I?
Is it about these accidents?
They're not accidents, Paul.
Oh, now what makes you so sure?
4 attempts in 2 weeks. The first time, a car nearly flattened him on the pavement. The second time was in Wales.
Just a minute. Did he see who was driving the car?
No.
I'm sorry, in Wales?
Edward had gone down to Cardiff.
What, to the factory?
Yes. And some scaffolding collapsed just as he was walking underneath.
And then there were those 2 incidents yesterday.
Penelope, have the police been told? Well, why not?
Edward won't. Says he won't have the police prying into his business.
Oh, then your husband can't be all that worried about it, can he?
But he is. Well, he pretends he isn't, but he's worried, all right.
Well, does he have a lot of enemies?
Not those sort of enemies. No, not people who want to kill him. Except perhaps Sutherland.
The company secretary?
Yes.
But surely he's in custody, isn't he?
Oh, yes, where's he being held?
In Wales somewhere. But arrangements can be made from inside prison, can't they?
Well, I don't know. This really is a matter for the police, you know.
But Edward won't talk to them. But he might listen to you, Paul.
But what on earth can I say to him?
Stop him going to this trial. If he goes, they'll kill him, I know it.
Why should they?
Because without Edward, there is no trial. He's the key witness.
Oh, but he's not in.
Oh, where's he gone?
Well, he's probably gone to have a haircut or something.
Do you mean he'd do that without telling you where he was or when he was going to be back?
Well, it is his firm, Paul.
What about Arthur Mayer, then?
He's not in either. He's gone to attend the opening of a sales conference at the St. Clement's Hotel. And he won't be back until midday. At least until then.
I see. Well, I'll just have to come back later, won't I? Thank you.
I could name you quite a few blokes who'd arranged to knock off another fella for a fee. There must be, half a dozen of them, and they're good. They do the job the way a client wants it done. Time, place, method. Very efficient. They're called contractors.
Could a man in prison order a killing?
Yeah, if he had the right contacts. Somebody in the know.
Well, that's what Paul wants, I think. For you to talk to these contractors and see if any of them have been hired.
Well, I'll have a sniff around, see if there's a rumor about Kane. Contractors don't usually talk, though.
Can you try it?
The trouble is, these days, you've got to really lash out. The top boys want £5,000–10,000. There can't be many people that aggravated.
There's Sutherland, the company secretary.
Well, you better tell Paul that if the contract boys are involved, you better watch out. This could be a dodgy one.
Cancel Mr. Kane's engagements. Why?
All of them.
But what for? And where is he?
Just do as you're told, will you?
I asked you where he is.
He's just gone to ground for a few hours, that's all. Until this thing's blown over.
I don't believe it. Edward's not scared.
He may appear perfectly calm to you, but I'd say he had every reason to be very frightened. Now, shall we start the phoning?
Congratulations. Tell me, Arthur, do you really hate him enough to go through with it?
Go through with what?
You know what I'm talking about. Is a woman really worth it, even if her name is Penelope Kane?
Julie.
No, Arthur. You're too much of a coward to kill people. You just stab them in the back instead. Oh, Mr. Mayor's back now, if you'd like to see him.
Thank you. I'll go right in.
Hello, Paul.
Ah, good sales conference. At the St. Clement's Hotel.
Well, boring. Good for our profits. Our reps aren't exactly the most stimulating people in the world.
No, thank you. Julie tried very hard, Arthur. I said she tried very hard. She overlooked one little thing, though. There's a large notice up still in the downstairs lobby about the sales conference. It took place last week.
I still had some business done.
I've just been to the hotel. Nobody had seen you there. So where were you this morning? Or more to the point, where is Kane?
He's in hiding.
He's what?
He doesn't admit it, but that's what it amounts to. Yesterday scared him, so now he's keeping out of the way.
Why were you involved?
I'm paid to organize things for him, whether I like it or not.
You're not over fond of him, are you?
He's my boss, Temple. He pays good money.
I see. Well, let me know where he is, will you? Now.
I wouldn't interfere too much, if I were you.
I hope that's just a piece of friendly advice, Mr. Mayor, not something else. Kane! Kane?
What do you want, friend? Come on! Who are you after?
It's all right, Brad. Leave him.
I'll just close that outside door.
Very well. Paul, I'm so sorry. He's good, isn't he?
He's big. Who is he?
His name's Brad. He works for me.
Bodyguard.
The best money can buy. Look, you need a drink. Come on.
Edward, your wife is worried about you.
Conditioned reflex. Didn't Steve worry about you?
I'll have to ask her. She certainly would be if I was in your shoes. You're still convinced it's Sutherland, are you? Tell me about him, Edward.
Company secretary?
No, I mean the man himself.
Oh, widower. Got a daughter, I believe, mid-20s.
Yes, but what's he like?
Brilliant. He's the cleverest man I know. As far as I'm concerned, computers don't touch him.
And yet you caught him.
It was sheer luck. He'd been writing checks for goods we never received.
Has any of this money been recovered yet?
No. Oh, it'll probably be in a numbered account in Zurich or somewhere, if I know Sutherland. Sitting there until he comes out. accumulating interest.
With that kind of money, he could probably stop you giving evidence, couldn't he?
No, Paul. I have to. My reputation's at stake.
Well, maybe I can help.
I have help.
No, not help. Protection. Are just you and Brad going for the trial in Wales?
And Mr. Kane's secretary.
Why her?
Well, why not? This is not a holiday, for God's sake. There's work to be done.
How are you going?
I'm driving down. We're leaving tomorrow.
What, in your car?
No, company car.
In a Did you approve this?
No.
Well, why go along with it then?
I was told to. Overruled.
By whom?
Mayor. He was very firm about it.
Well, why shouldn't we use a company car?
Because you'll be picked up and trailed the moment you leave London, Edward. Unless the car you're travelling in is a secret, you're in trouble.
All right, then, get another.
Exactly, sir. Mr. Temple's, for example.
Yes, of course. Why not use mine?
Done if you drive. Otherwise, what's the point? Mr. Kane's not allowed to. I don't drive while on duty, and that girl wouldn't know where to start with.
Now, wait a minute, Brad. We can't drag Temple all the way down to Cardiff. Why don't you think a little before you suggest things like that?
It's strange. I had the impression that's exactly what he was doing.
Well, there's nothing definite, but he's been marked down for a doing over, all right. Or a killing.
Somebody talked?
It's what they all didn't say. But every man Jack in the trade I spoke to had heard the name and then wasn't saying anything.
Who are these men you've talked to?
Oh, just the boys that do all the dirty work. The word soon gets around if there's a job on.
You haven't talked to the contractor yet, then?
Wouldn't do any good, Paul. He wouldn't talk even if the boys told me his name.
You see, if we knew, Kane could probably buy him off.
No. I'm sorry. But in this line of business, once you're hired, you stay hired. Ethics.
Well, we've still got to try, Sammy. Oh, by the way, Kane's found himself a bodyguard, a fellow called Bradford. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know of him.
No, what exactly?
Well, he's one of these floating pool of men available to whoever pays him first. One day he's a bodyguard, the next pretty efficient and reliable to whoever pays him.
First.
Paul, let's stop for a drink.
I'd like to keep going a little while longer.
Oh, Paul.
At least until I make sure whether or not we're being followed.
Followed?
There's a Humber on our tail.
Well, there are other cars on the motorway, you know. Mr. Temple's given him every chance to pass. When we accelerate, he does.
He's passed us a couple of times.
On motorways, you can follow from the front, sir. He has.
I noticed.
I thought you might.
Well, makes for a bit of mystery, doesn't it?
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Who told them you were coming by road? Who told them you were coming with me? In other words, who knew?
No one knew.
I knew. Miss Merrill here knew.
Your wife knew.
Is that all?
Well, that narrows the field, doesn't it? My wife and the two of you in the back. One of you is setting me up.
Correction, sir. Mrs. Kane, us two in the back, and Mr. Temple.
Yeah.
No, Brad's quite right. I've got to be suspect as well.
No, Paul. You've nothing to gain.
How are they going to play it, Brad?
Overtake, cut in fast, nice swipe with the rear, and that's it.
You know, I really enjoy driving with you, Bradford.
They wouldn't do that, would they?
What was a pretty girl like you with her, miss?
Cut in and swipe, you say?
Right.
Here he comes. Hold tight.
Nicely done, sir. Very nice. Trouble is, he'll live through it.
Brad. Well, let's hope he wasn't just a businessman on his way home to his wife and kids.
That he's a bad driver and deserves it. And a bad husband. Spends a lot of time drinking at the 29. He's a pro, Mr. Temple. A hired man.
It's too late to turn back now.
He is my husband.
Got to go through with it.
It's grotesque the way something starts, then gets out of hand.
One chance.
Look, let's talk about it later. Next week, perhaps, when the trial's over.
It'll be too late then. You've made a decision, Penny. You want to be rid of him. Well, don't back out now. All the arrangements have been made.
Sometimes I wish I'd never met you.
No, you don't mean that. I'll look after you.
Yes. Yes, I know you will.
Arthur!
Steve!
Hello, Steve. I wasn't expecting you.
Oh, with Paul away, I managed to get some of the designs done, so...
Well, you better come in, then.
Is anything the matter?
No, why?
Oh, I thought perhaps Arthur had brought news of Edward.
No. Would you like a drink or something?
Lovely.
Whiskey?
Fine. I'll show you the master.
Yes, do.
Could I have water instead of soda, please?
Yes, of course. Excuse me. Now then, let's have a look at the designs.
Huh? Thank you.
Oh, I like this one.
That's my favourite.
A bit too much blue, perhaps, but that's very good. Cheers you up to look at it.
Like a winter holiday. A winter holiday. This one I want you to look at, I think, particularly. I suppose you haven't had any more ideas about who might be trying to kill Edward. I mean, who might have a motive for wanting him out of the way.
Steve, why did you come here today?
To bring you the designs.
Then let's just talk about the designs, shall we?
Where's Julie?
Well, if the man isn't in hospital tonight, he's walking about with a lot of heavy cuts and bruises at the very least.
Must have been some tangle on the motorway. Anything else?
Oh, Paul did say he was a member of the 29 Club.
Your old man could have bought himself a load of trouble, and I'm not kidding. Anybody from the 29 Club isn't playing for laughs. I've used them myself in the old days, so I know. I'll see you.
Who were you phoning, Miss Merrill?
A friend of my father's. Why?
Oh. What for?
That's none of your business.
What for?
I had asked him round to the hotel at Cheltenham for a drink. It's a long time since I've seen him. You've now changed where we're going to stay, so obviously I had to cancel the meeting, that's all. Is there any crime in that?
I hope not. For your sake. Whom did you call, Mr. Temple?
My wife.
Happy families.
You should try it.
I did.
I bet she didn't stick you long.
Quite right, miss. It was the way I beat her that did it.
Good.
Name of Kane. Who gives the orders? Listen, pal. Those pastry decorations on your face would just be for starters if you don't talk. Now, are you going to tell me, or are we going to sort it out outside?
Thank you.
Huh. Buy you one, Mr. Temple?
Yes, a pint, please, Brad.
And a pint, best bitter, please.
Edward's upstairs, is he?
Sir's having a bath. Not that they've got any hot water in this place. And little miss?
Is powdering her nose.
What about telephones?
Oh, there's just one. The kiosk by the desk.
Oh, you're good.
Well, that's small comfort when we're dealing with the real professionals.
You think we are?
Oh, don't be naive, Brad. The big boys are in on this one.
Like Sammy Carson. Cheers.
Cheers.
I know all about you, Mr. Temple. My boys were out checking on you last night.
Well, fair's fair, as they say. Sammy's been finding out about you this afternoon.
Finding out what, Mr. Temple?
Whether you really are just under contract to Kane. Or somebody else as well. Edward, come and have a drink.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ah, Lewis.
Mr. Carson.
Mr. Lewis?
Making a comeback? Need a little help?
Yeah, a little help. A friend of mine is at the wrong end of a contract. Somebody's trying to knock him off.
Removals are not in my line of business. You should know that.
It's one of your boys been doing the trying so far.
Kane?
That's right, Kane. Edward Kane.
Yes, I know the name.
I thought you weren't in the removals business.
I'm not, Mr. Carson. It was a warning-off job.
What's the deal?
Warn him off going to Cardiff. Show him quite clearly that if he testifies at a certain trial, he could be dead.
Well, he's still going to testify, Mr. Lewis. So call off the rest of the contract.
If you say so, Mr. Carson.
I say so.
Contract's been taken off anyway.
When?
My standing orders. Cease activities tonight.
Kane's in the clear, then. You wouldn't lie to me, Mr. Lewis.
Lie to you, Mr. Carson? Why should I do a thing like that?
Now, use your phone, Tiny.
Yeah, sure, hope so.
Good, that's not bad.
Paul, on the game?
No, thank you.
All right. Well, good.
Well, the contractor is a man called Lewis.
So?
He just told Sammy the contract's been cancelled. So Edward's in the clear.
Are you sure, Paul?
Well, I think we can believe it.
Oh.
So you can all relax now like kids, is that it?
What do you mean?
Forget it. I'll just check the boss's room.
Mr. Temple just said you
I
wouldn't
heard
do-
what he said, miss. He may not be right, that's all.
He is the rudest man I've ever met in my life.
Brad? No, he's thorough. Anyway, why should he necessarily believe me?
Do you know, on the way up here, I really thought he was working for them.
He's in the clear.
I wouldn't count on anything where he's concerned, Paul.
No, I've had him checked out.
And I thought you were only a writer.
Hidden depths, Julie.
Well, that's it.
And I think I'll go to bed. Good night, Paul.
No, it's,
Good night,
Good
Julie.
night, Edward.
Good night. You and Reg against Academy, yes?
News? I think it's going to be all right.
You sure?
Don't worry.
All right, Reg.
Double.
Well, if Sammy says it's off, I suppose he's right, but... Well, Paul, it's Mare and Penelope. They're thick as thieves. And Mare's capable of anything.
Mare and Penelope? Steve, is that your feminine instinct at work again? You... Darling, I'll ring you back. Edward? Have you seen Mr. Kane at all?
Oh, you went outside.
Outside where?
Through there. You went out with the dart player.
What's up? Just a minute. Are these dart players local men?
Oh, never seen him before.
Come on, Brad.
Oh, be careful!
Wait. Edward, what's happened?
It's all right.
Where'd they go? Where'd they go?
They've gone, Brad.
Come and sit down.
Bring him in. Sitting down there.
You ever seen any of those men before?
No. I need a drink.
And I want to talk to little Miss Muffet.
No, Brad. You stay with me.
Someone brought them here. It was her on a ruddy phone call.
Do as Mr. Kane says, Brad. If it was her, the plan's misfired.
I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
Sutherland has a daughter, hasn't he? About the same age as Julie. Would be too easy.
Brad! Get Mr. Kane that drink, will you?
Where are you going?
Stop being so damn suspicious of everybody.
On the eye club. Yeah. Sammy.
Thanks. Hello? Oh, hello, Paul. You what? All right, leave it to me, will you?
And he said, don't be silly, how can I? I got a pig in one hand and a lamp in the other. And she said, well, I could hold the pig, couldn't I?
Have it away, you two. You told me a lie, Mr. Lewis.
Did I, Mr. Carson?
Now, I could cause you a lot of bother, you know that.
Well, I could cause you bother, Mr. Carson.
You told me a lie, and I don't like it.
Come on, Sammy, we're all mates. Don't let's have a war.
You told me Kane was in the clear.
Well, isn't he?
I don't like being pushed, Mr. Lewis.
Well, you know my strength, Mr. Carson.
And you know mine. Now, what about Kane?
Going soft, are you? Working for the law?
Questions like that aren't funny.
So what's your interest?
I'm doing this for a friend. He's in a spot, and I'm going to help him.
You owe favors, Sammy. Is that wise?
I told you it's for a friend. Or wouldn't you understand about things like that?
I understand about favors. Dangerous things, favors. If you'll take my advice, you'll avoid them if you can.
I manage.
So who is this friend?
It doesn't matter.
Matters to me. I like to know who I'm dealing with.
You're beginning to aggravate me, Mr. Lewis.
Self-preservation, Sammy. The law of the jungle.
So what about Kane?
Then you'll owe me a favor.
I said I can manage.
I hope so, Sammy. For your sake, I hope so.
Now, about Kane, what went wrong?
Been a change of plan, I did hear. Someone is looking for a removal operator.
When?
Could be tomorrow.
Where?
Well, that I don't know. Wales, perhaps?
Where in Wales?
On my honor, Sammy, I don't know.
Well, if you hear...
Ah, then you'd owe me two favors. But I won't hear, Sammy. I promise you I won't. All I know is that it's a time job. 10 o'clock, I did hear.
Who's he phoning?
Oh, his wife, I think. Just telling her everything's all right.
Maybe the other way around.
What?
I know all about her and that fancy boy, Paul. As far as I'm concerned, she may still be behind all this.
What's going on then, Sammy?
Oh, a bit of aggro, that's all.
Yeah, well, I don't like it all the same. Not all my members are mixed up in it. I don't get my license automatic, you know.
If you have any trouble with Lewis, you tell me.
It's not Lewis I'm thinking about. It's Kane.
Is Kane a member?
Well, they all are. Kane, Mayor, and that nut Hainsworth. Well, their office is just round the corner.
Do any of them know Lewis?
Bound to. Nibble Lewis is one of my best customers.
Hello, Steve. It's Sammy. Listen, things are getting a bit dodgy. There's a new contract lined up for 10 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 10 o'clock. And I can't contact Paul. Listen, have you got a motor? I think we ought to get up there. Yeah, right.
What's the matter?
Kane's gone. Hire car.
I thought you were watching outside his room.
So I dozed off.
Well, where's he gone?
Station. Hall porter heard him asking about trains.
Going to the trial alone? He really doesn't trust any of us.
Go
does
and
he?
get the car.
Where are you going?
Tell Julie what's happening.
Any luck?
The hotel shouldn't be far now.
Ah, Miss Meadow?
Yes.
The hire car you asked for last night. It'll be here in about 10 minutes.
Oh, thank you.
And the young lady left some time after. She went to the airport.
You go and follow Julie. I'll give Paul a hand.
Right.
Can you arrange a hire car for me?
No? Well, we've got just 4 minutes to find him. 10 o'clock. They said they were going to do it at 10 o'clock. Come on, let's look again. Sammy!
What happened?
They got Kane. It's Brad.
Yeah, and Julie. With someone else, too. Come on, I'll tell you about it on the way to the airport.
For heaven's sake, what kept you?
They're going off in a private aircraft.
What, 3 of them?
Yeah.
Not wanted on the voyage after all, Brown. Where were you going, Julie? Some country that doesn't have an extradition treaty. Austria, perhaps, or South America?
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, come on, Julie. You're no mastermind. $1.5 million Sutherland's supposed to have embezzled. You must be going to share that with somebody.
Paul, I bet you it was that third man I saw in a station.
There was no third man. Was there, Edward? You know, you almost had me believing it. You fall into the estuary and your body's washed out to sea. Very convincing death.
For which I needed a reliable witness, Paul.
You.
So that you'd be free to spend all that money you embezzled. From your own firm. Well, the trial should be starting any moment. Just enough time to get Sutherland out of the dock. And you into it.
Mm-hmm.